All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are live across the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and, of course, across Canada on the Game Plus Television Network. Very excited to welcome in, coming out of a very busy weekend, Daren Millard, the host of Vegas Golden Knights television broadcast. How you doing, Daren?
I'm doing good. It was a fun weekend, 3 and 4, which is always taxing on everybody. It was a road trip, and the team was able to finish it up on a positive note. So good.
I was very pleased to have you communicating with me through that because I know how busy you are with this hockey team. And it was nice to see your guys when they came through here through South Florida. But I'll be honest, let's start there. It wasn't the best weekend. Shutout in Florida 3-0, lost in overtime at Tampa Bay. What changed in Carolina to finish things off on a good note?
Oh, I think a little bit of desperation, a little bit of getting your game in order and realizing what you have to do to beat teams like Florida, Tampa, and Carolina that all play in a very similar style, up tempo, pressure, certainly forcing you to make decisions with the puck. And they got better as the road trip went on. Now, the Florida game was coming off four complete days away from game action, and they had trouble getting into their rhythm in that one, and I'll give them a little bit of leeway there. The Tampa Bay game was two different games. The first two periods was all Tampa, and the third period, Vegas was able to find this game, and I got a single point out of it thanks to some strong goaltending from Carl Lindbaum. But it was a real positive aspect that third period in Tampa to be able to find their game, and you saw the positive impact of that in the victory against the Carolina Hurricanes, which ended up being a sweep of Carolina, and that hasn't happened for 4 years.
You know, you talk hockey all the time. It's your job, but I want to lob a few questions at you that you might not normally get. I want to know what it's like to be the host of the Vegas Golden Knights television broadcast. You're a day one guy, as I said earlier, and the team's never really lost. Like I talked to my betting friends out there, the gambling guys like Johnny Avello from DraftKings are like, the fans are spoiled. They lose two in a row. They think the sky's falling. They've never had a bad team. Like, that's pretty
Uh,
cool.
the, this is the ninth season. They missed the playoffs once. They've been to the Stanley Cup final a couple of times. They're perennial contenders for the Western Conference championship, and they are in it every single year. And Darren Elliott, my partner on the pre and the post game show, the intermissions, we joke around all the time what a luxury it is to cover a team like this, where if you do hit a wonky period, you've won two games out of six, and you're a game below 500. But people are wondering, just like what we saw earlier on this season, where they went to overtime their first three games, and people are wondering why are they even going to overtime. This last road trip was a little bit of that, and I joked on the air yesterday that you got a molehill and you got a mountain, and you don't want to make a molehill into a mountain, and that's exactly what they avoided doing on this road trip by winning against Carolina and picking up a 500 road trip. But to answer your question, it's a luxury, and it's a real privilege and a thrill to be able to cover a game where you're talking 85% positive play on the ice, and everybody's in a good mood around the rink, and the coaches are positive. That certainly makes my job easier, but also a lot more fun along the way because we've all covered
Yeah.
bad teams, and it's not fun to be that guy going in and asking those questions. And the players don't want to talk about it. You can tell the players all the times in the world that you're not trying to stir up trouble, but they're not buying that because you're asking these tough questions. So this is a very positive situation.
Yeah, and I think you would agree you're lucky to have a boss in Kelly McCrimmon who is a hockey man but is fair. So he knows that
Yeah.
you, Darren, aren't going to be picking on anybody. If they're bad, you'll say it. Fortunately, they're just very rarely ever bad. You know?
Yeah, Kelly and I go back a long way. I'm fortunate to have an extensive history with Kelly, so I sort of know where uh, the lines are, and where I'm being fair and where I'm being a little bit nitpicky, and maybe crossing a line. And that's all that Kelly and George and Bruce Cassidy ask is if you're going to go into an area that maybe people would rather you not. As long as you're fair, you've got the rope. But if you start asking questions just to be known, or looking for clicks, or stir up trouble, sports talk radio, that kind of stuff, then there's going to be an issue, and I respect that. That we've got that leeway to go down that fair and path that is needed to be held to a certain level.
Sure. So when I was in Vegas for Super Bowl 2 years ago, it was made very clear to me, Daren, by the locals. They're like, we're not a Raiders town. No, stop.
No.
We're a Golden Knights town. End of story. You think that'll be
Well,
the case the rest of the way?
You know how you can tell is one team's called the Las Vegas Raiders, the other team's called the Vegas Golden Knights, and people in this city refer to themselves as being from Vegas, not from Las Vegas, and that's sort of the telltale indicator of how long you've lived here, or whether you're a local, or whether you're from afar, or a PEI, we call it, from away. It's Vegas, and I'll be curious to see what the A's do, whether they go with the Las Vegas A's, having witnessed how much more of a bond there is, and that's not saying that the adoption of Vegas is the only reason why the Golden Knights have had such an incredible relationship with their fan base. But it is one of the reasons that it makes it more of a Vegas-born situation than the National Football League team.
Absolutely. And the other thing, too, for those that don't know, Daren, you're a Canadian boy. Brandon's your hometown, right? Very close with your brother Dean. Talk to him all the time. And you reached the pinnacle of hockey broadcasting in Canada. And then you go to Vegas. It's pretty big swap. Got to be a culture change. You're the host of the TV broadcast. It's so different than what you were doing, really. But you never, I don't want to say talk down. I watch your games all the time. You never talked over the heads of the viewers. You never tried to educate them. You just did it as a straightforward hockey broadcast every time, going back 9 seasons. Clearly, that was the way you wanted to approach it.
Yeah, we never really talked about it, Rod. I'll be honest with you. We never went into this going, okay, do we have to do a hockey 101 for this market? They've had hockey here for years, between different stints with the Las Vegas Thunder or the Las Vegas Wranglers. Different people have come through here. I still work a good buddy of mine, Jeff Sharples, who's a graduate of the Las Vegas Thunder and stuck around here, and now is a pilot for Alaskan Airlines, but has a passion for the game. He played in the National Hockey League with the Detroit Red Wings. There's a hockey culture in this town, so it was there, and it allowed us just to be us and talk hockey. There will be times, Ron, where there's a quirky rule or verbiage that we'll use where I'll ask Elliot, okay, explain that a little bit more, because that's not something that people in Vegas might not understand. It's people around the hockey world are getting to know a new bit of terminology. I'll get them to explain it, but on the whole, we approach this not as Toronto or Montreal, but certainly didn't tackle it like it was Florida or the first time hockey went to LA.
Well, and for all your fans, of which they are fans that are watching in Canada on the Game Plus TV network, I told you that I texted your good friend Darren Dreger this morning. And I said, hey, you're good with Millard, right? You guys are great. And he's like, yeah. Oh, he goes, oh, yeah. I got good news and bad news, Darren. Which do you want first from Dregs? Who, for those that don't know, he's like the Adam Schefter of Canada, of the NHL in Canada, in my mind.
Well, Dregs and I got together a long, long time ago, and I was his A1, his assistant in radio in Brandon, and we did the weekend games back when we were both in our early 20s, which gives you an idea of how long that was ago. So Dregs knows where all the skeletons are. I'll go bad news. I'll go bad news first.
Oh, he said that you're afraid of needles.
Yeah.
And that you had the highest goals against average in the history of the Dauphin Kings junior A hockey team. Is that true?
Yeah, okay, there's one positive here to playing in an era where I did. Hockey DB didn't track a lot of the things that happened back when I played, and I played parts of 2 years in Dauphin, and I'm fairly confident that it might be even games that I started that that I finished on the bench. So I was either like it was 50-50 whether I was going to be on the bench or there attacking. I wasn't a closer. I enjoyed the game, but I wasn't very good at the game. Now I still play now, and I love it. And I get out on the ice with some of the best players in the world and have a blast. And I owe everything in the world to hockey. But I was for a junior hockey goaltender, I was extremely average. And the needle thing, he's right. We had to give because we had private insurance for a while, Dregs and I. So we had to get a checkup and go through all the points. And I was living with Dregs in Toronto, and the lady came over and took my blood, and she ran out of the room going, Mr. Dreger, he's passed out. So
he, he
Holly and Dregs had to come and sort of get me back on the chair. It wasn't the most manly of moments, let's just say that.
He actually told me the whole story, but I was going to leave it to
Yeah,
you as to how much of the
yeah.
details you want to roll out, just that you're afraid of needle. And then the other is just that he said that you guys live together, how close you are. And to be honest, you two actually kind of sound alike. I don't know. you spent a
Oh,
lot of time
really?
together. I would say that
It's
you do.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because we used to do hockey broadcasts, baseball broadcasts, all kinds of things back in the days of CKLQ. And my parents would be driving, and they would argue which one was which. So it's funny you bring that up all these years later. No, he's a buddy, but I'm I'm so proud of what he's done. He's a mentor to me. He's always one that's been able to reach out and guide me back to the right path if he thinks I'm stepping over a line and getting a little too full of myself. And so I love that guy, and he and Holly have been amazing people in our lives.
I would say full of himself is never a term I've heard associated with you. You might think that, but
Oh, I can.
I've never heard that.
I've gone close to there, and we also played. We did a thing back in the day at Sportsnet. Drake's and I sort of ran our Wednesday afternoon hockey. We played noon hour hockey every Wednesday at Commander Arena in Toronto, and we would do a showdown at the end of every skate. So we had that little rivalry too.
Those are always fun. You know, speaking, the viewers
Yeah.
have questions. That doesn't surprise me. We got about 5 minutes left here with
Oh
Daren
yeah, let's
Millard, so I
go.
won't keep you too. Well, well, they said, what's the biggest surprise of the season? Shaq in Winnipeg says, is it the Red Wings? Bomber Boy in Calgary says, no, it's got to be Utah. Who's the biggest surprise to you on the good end?
Well, go New Jersey. What they've been able to do. I know they had a stumble last night, but what they have accomplished out of the gate and without their number one goaltender, I think in that division, they've taken a real step and made a statement. Detroit rebounding from the Todd McClellan speech on opening night was fun to watch and is encouraging for that group. I love Montreal. I've got this soft spot in my heart for this team this year. Noah Dobson is a great kid. I spend my summers on PEI and get to see Noah a little bit, and I know how excited he was for joining the Montreal Canadiens. And that's a team that I think going through the year and their management group and adding pieces, I think that they're in a position to be able to bulk up as we go along. And I would keep an eye on Montreal. And I'll go right in my own backyard. Vegas has one regulation loss in 10. Not a surprise because they always get off to good starts. But Jack Eichel right now, Rod, is the best player in the world. And Connor McDavid's the best player. I'm not trying to start an argument here. But Jack Eichel with 19 points in the first 10 games and what he's been able to do, multiple point games. And, every time when he scores a point in a game, they win 77% of the time. That's his impact on this team goes beyond what people might think.
That's MVP material there. Paul Maurice said after the game Saturday, he goes, this guy, well, number one, he said powerful. He goes, that's a powerful centerman. Possibly the best player in the league. And I was like, did you forget what McDavid's done the last two Stanley Cup? But I'm not going to argue with Paul Maurice. Brian in Edmonton has a question that I have the same similar for you. He
Mm.
says, Daren, has the number of ice surfaces gone up in Vegas since the Golden Knights showed up?
Yes. So they built a two-sheet facility. Good question. Love my time at ITV, by the way. It was short, but Drager and I were both there. Not at ITV, but he was at A Channel, and I was at ITV. So we followed we played hopscotch throughout our lives. Loved the golf in Edmonton. Loved everything about living in Edmonton. It's absolutely so memorable. So ice surfaces. They built a two-sheeter for the Vegas Golden Knights when the franchise started. And since then, they built another two-sheeter where the Henderson Silver Knights, the American Hockey League team, practice out of and are located. And they built a 6,000 seat facility, Lee's Family Forum, where the Henderson Silver Knights play their games out of. So there's three more sheets, and there's been several rumblings and talk about added sheets and multi-sheet facilities to come as the sport grows. Minor hockey, like, you can't get ice time. It's just like in Edmonton, where we in men's league or recreational leagues, you're pushed late into the night to be able to get that ice time because there's so much appetite for it.
Just a minute or two left, maybe 2 to 3 minutes left. Kevin in Las Vegas has written in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Daren, he says, what is Bill Foley like? The owner of the Golden Knights.
Okay. My interaction with billionaires is it's a small group. All right. So I'm not going to try and say that I'm walking through Billionaire Row and can say and wave and say I know everybody, but he is nothing like what you would expect a billionaire to be. He's casual, he's talkative, he's engaging. When he sees you, he'll say hi, he'll call you by name, he'll sit and have a conversation with you about the game. I got a chance to actually spend some time with him last year. We were shooting a promo at his house, and we just ended up shooting the breeze. And he was like anybody else, except when you left his house and you look back at it, you went, "That's not like anybody else." But yeah, he's as normal of a person you would expect for having that kind of wealth. He's very cool.
He's self-made, right? Like he's a normal guy. Yeah. Just a very, very successful one.
Wears the top and the jeans and walks through the office like he's anybody else.
Well, like yours and my mutual friend Mike Davis says from the Vegas Nighthawks, because I've asked him about Foley. He goes, he doesn't play.
No.
You know, Mike, you know what that means. He doesn't screw around.
But Mike's in different meetings than I'm in. So let's just clarify that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not talking player personnel. I love Mike Davis. He's the coolest, just most fun
Isn't
guy.
he?
Boy, can he play golf too? Man, that guy just squished.
Tell me about
it.
it.
I've had a chance to play with Bruce and Mike playing in the same foursome. Bruce Cassidy and Mike Davis. That's a match that you want to be a part of. Two bright guys who can hit the ball.
I wouldn't play. We're out of time. Daren, this has been awesome. Thanks. Good luck with the season.
Awesome stuff.
All right, the great Daren Millard. How fun was that? What a great chat. We got all your questions asked. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus.